Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Sandbox session Cloud Light stream on 28th of November. I can't believe it's 28th
We're back.
of November. Hey, Pete.
Happy Thanksgiving, or actually say happy actual Black Friday, because this is technically the day that really should be Black Friday, even though it's now smeared into half a month.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Black Friday is now it's a bit like Christmas. Every year just gets further, but like there's a period at which I'm pretty sure like there is an aim by a retailer to just constantly have it being like a period every year. So there'll be Halloween sales, Thanksgiving sales, like Halloween, Black Friday, Christmas, and they're just going to start coming up with like new holidays throughout the year. You know, there'll be an Easter sale, and you'll eventually get it. Oh, look, it's back. Yeah, back to school already happens in September. Yeah.
The thing that, when it dawned on me, and this was a long time ago, I mean, this is in my early 20s, like I was talking to a friend who was working at, Target. It's a huge retailer in the US, which was based in Minneapolis, where I lived. And it was sometime like June, July. I was like, yeah, how's things going? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, work's really hot, like so busy, so much going on. I was like, oh yeah, really? What's going on? He's like, well, Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, Christmas? Like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, it all happens now. Like everything is now. By July, Christmas is over for us. Like, because he was more on like the ordering side. And anyway, so yeah.
Have you? So do you have a Christmas advent calendar, Pete?
I
when
do, in fact, right now.
Okay, and do you have a chocolate one?
No, I do not.
Okay, so well, this might not ring as true then, but I was having this discussion last night with my wife about advent calendars. I was saying that so we all like, and this is the British chocolate. Let's be clear. But not like you know what normal milk chocolate tastes like, right? We know what that tastes like. You get a dairy milk; it's lovely, thing of beauty. You then get like Easter chocolate and Christmas chocolate. Taste nothing like it. Chocolate in an advent calendar and chocolate in an Easter egg both taste different from each other as well, but they're like you can tell that advent calendars are made back at like sort of February the year before, because just the taste because it's and
I think it's also like a lot less high quality stuff.
Like super mass root, but like I will if ever a British person wants to know what Hershey's tastes like without having to make themselves feel ill by having Hershey's, try advent calendar chocolate, because it's the same sort of fake milk they're using it to keep it preserved. Like that's the big thing with the reason Hershey's tastes so
abhorrent. Well, most American chocolate, to be fair. So
yeah, the reason it tastes like that, and we don't, British taste and European taste don't like it, is because it's made to travel such vast distances. Which, I mean,
butyric acid. That's the name of the substance. Actually,
yes, yeah. But I mean, in fairness, the distance from Belgium to like where I am in the north of England is closer, probably, than from like one end of Florida to the other.
Or the Cadbury's chocolate factory to anywhere in England, right?
So. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. I was just choosing like even a more famous, or random one. Yeah. Anyway, Pete, how are things? Welcome along, everyone. Thanks for joining us. If you are here and about, just drop us a little note, say hello, let us know where you're watching from. How are you, Pete?
I'm doing well. It's been super busy. I feel like I've been going nonstop since Dreamforce. This week was a little bit of a break, and then next week's French Touch Dreaming, and the week after that, a couple more events, and then like okay, then it's going to be a bit quieter until the new year. So like those are, but like my big project right now is we wrapped up our Salesforce Ben salary survey. So I've been writing the report for that, which has been interesting. It's interesting. So
yes, I mean, because since I think been about a month since we were last together here. So although you and I caught up in the meantime, we had obviously the developer survey came out. which was interesting. And then you also ran I know Salesforce ran their first industry event as well, which was interesting to see. Your
That
team.
is true. So we
MC.
I was the host. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've never been like the sort of main host for an event like that. I'll be honest, like part of me was like, could my time be better spent doing something else, you
Hmm.
know? But I I really enjoyed it, and what I tried to focus on, you know, and I'll be just totally honest, like I'm basing what I tried to do on watching a particular person and how he tends to host his single track developer conference. And this was, you know, not just developers, but it was definitely sort of more admin, architect, developer focused around financial services. James Governor, who is one of the founders of RedMonk, the developer advisory firm, he runs a single track conference every year in London called Monkey Graw.
Mhm.
I love it. It's one of my favorite tech events. I try and go every year. I've not missed any of them, I think, at least apart from the COVID, you know,
Yeah.
the blip.
That's yeah, the thing that we all try and forget about.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it's a great, but like he does a really good job of, you know, like he actually listens to the speakers as a host and tries to reflect on them, and then, you know, tries to find like things that connect within. And so I was trying to do that during the conference, and I got good feedback, you know. So I feel like I at least did that adequately.
'Cause
Because I think, you know, it makes a big difference if you've just got somebody who's like, "Hey, thanks, Joe, for your talk on, you know, fill in the topic." And next is Jane, who's going to talk to us about fill in the topic. You know, like that's like, you know, it's probably fine if the other content's really good, but you know, I wanted there to be more of an experience for the audience than just sort of the rest between the like other like the rest of the content, you know. So
yeah, there was I used to go to a lot of pharmaceutical kind of technology conferences around like marketing and all these things. And one of the guys who ran that was the MC there. He was really good at and I later learned that he had a couple of people that were there assisting him doing this. But what he would do is, that kind of intermediary bit after the speaker's gone up there. And I sort of only learned this from talking at the event myself. Is that you were then expected to have 2 or 3 minutes, and they built in this little buffer time for like up to 5 minutes where he would come up and just ask questions he thought of that you had no idea what was coming, and it
nice.
was really good. And like it was, as a speaker, it meant that like it was what was really good about it is you at the end of what it's like you get a 40-minute slot, you go to 35 minutes, you leave 5 minutes to questions because you always are meant to. And some talks you get there and there are just question after question after question, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to like see you outside. Other ones, yeah, you've just done it and people are like, great, no notes, no thoughts, like or and that's not a sign that you've necessarily missed or overshot or done anything
No,
wrong. It's
no.
just that sometimes people are like, yeah, that makes sense. I need to go away and do this. But his real strength was not just asking detailed questions so you could kind of adapt that time as needed, linking it back to other talks.
Right.
And that was so good to be able to like, and it really helped. I think one of the things that a really good kind of, and I have to say, I'll be really honest, I think some of the Salesforce events I've been to that are more partner or industry focused don't do this as well.
Okay.
Um, but like having a narrative through the day is really
Right.
important. And like
Right.
having someone who can connect these things together a bit by bit to kind of add that flow just really helps. Whereas like, yeah.
I
And
could see that's kind of hard for Salesforce because oftentimes, I mean, they are trying to do right by their audience and their partners and, you know,
yeah,
their customers when they have these events, but they also have, you know, they've got a marketing directive most likely that they're trying to meet. And sometimes, like, I would guess maybe with the partner ones, there's like several of them, and so maybe it's hard to create that narrative, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and like, yeah, it's a bit like if you're at London's Calling or some of those where there's like, different breakout sessions and things like that. And yeah, it's I've always found though that it's one of those things. If you're going to like a partner event or an industry event, you are likely sticking to one or two tracks. There are very
Yeah.
few people that are, that would sit there and go, I'm going to go from. Very few people will go, I'm going to go to an ad, to put it in like London's Calling French Touch context. You wouldn't go and say, I'm going to an admin talk, then a developer talk, then an architect talk, then a marketing talk. That people tend to stick within a track or two, and in these
Right.
events, there's normally like a room, like the the Elizabeth room will be just for talks around being an ISV partner. The XYZ room will be just talks for marketing and financial services or whatnot. And yeah, one of the things that I think, for people that are swapping around between rooms, yeah, Joe, what, you're going to miss that anyway. But I think for those that are sitting there, it does really help do that. And I agree with you. Like, it's tough on Salesforce; they have got a marketing bent, but I do. It's something that I would say they could. If anyone from Salesforce is listening, they could, bit of feedback like on those particularly focused events, like Dreamforce and stuff ain't happening.
Yeah.
But if you've got like a collated group of like two tracks for a day, yeah.
But see, like, it could happen, and I think that's what, Chuck Liddell, uh, and I'm not remembering the name of the other organizer who, really helped put the extracurricular track in place for
Mm.
TDX for a couple of years. And, and for those who may not have heard of this, this was it was kind of a takeover that, at the time in developer relations, as we were building the content for TDX, uh, we, there's a whole reason why this happened I won't get into, but we decided to hand over an entire theater to be curated, by Chuck Liddell and name of this other guy I can't remember. And
It
they
wasn't Jeremy or someone like that, was it? Jeremy
who?
Ross or Jeremy Ross
No,
or
Jeremy was one of the panelists, and I think, John. So Jeremy and John from, the Good Day Sir podcast were active in it. I think one was a panelist and one was a host, for one of the sessions, and those were like very like 90-minute long, I think was what they did them at. And so, but it was a very specific format where there was like a 10-15 minute, very code based presentation. And then, like 40 minutes, there was a panel that basically peppered the person who did the presentation, uh,
okay.
with questions. And then they opened up to the rest of the audience. So then, audience members, and they like filled that time really well. We got really great people to participate in those. But that was like a, and it's the reason I'm talking about this is that, Salesforce Bend has just announced that we're going to have our own conference at the end of next year, 2026.
Cool.
Um, don't know what it looks like, but I've been mulling over like what are some things we could do that could differentiate this from either a Salesforce conference or a community conference, because this is not going to be a Dream It event. This is, Salesforce Bend. We are a media company, and when we do an event like this, we're, this is how we make money. This is how we bring content to our audience. So, but that gives us also an opportunity to do something a little bit differentiated. I've been trying to
Mm.
like mull over like what could that look like, and I'm like, one idea from this conversation we're having could be a sort of, like like a single track room, where in that room over the course of this day we're going to cover this theme. That's going to be the whole thing in that
Mm.
room. It would be about finding the right theme to have a big enough audience and to have an engaged enough constant presence so that we didn't end up where like we get like halfway through the day and there's three people sitting there, because that would be a big loss, you know. But uh I'm glad you said that, because that like reminded me of like the extracurricular, and it's like you can have kind of that sort of single track experience inside a broader event. It's just how to curate it. Like that's the hard part, I think.
Yeah, I think, and you also need to have the person who's there doing that role needs to
Right.
be
Yeah.
so like
That's me,
So
baby.
yeah, like when I like, I mean, if you were to like, if you're doing it for a developer track, you
Mhm.
need to be so you need to have been able to deliver every single one of those talks, or like, have a really good grounding of it to link those ideas and have really good understanding of stuff. Because like otherwise, that's what it also thought. Otherwise, it becomes like, oh yeah, well look, we learned about like scripting in JavaScript. Now let's see a guy write some Java, which is the non-script version of the like. You know what I mean? Like it just ends up
Yeah,
being
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think you actually, you need to be that coder. And again, like I go back to James Governor as an example. Like I don't know his history. Like he may have been a coder at one point, but he's like deeply steeped in the world of developers and knows enough context to be able to bring that. But that's also a special skill in and
yeah,
of itself. And that's not something just everybody has. And you're right. Like you can't just like grab a marketer and say, okay, find a narrative. Like that's just,
yeah,
they'll do their best, but they're going to be missing huge chunks of context to be able to really make that happen.
yeah. I mean, I'm just looking here. James Governor he was the deputy editor for Information Week UK. Yeah, he was the MD at Shoreditch Works, running with people there. So, like, yeah, I think he's probably had so many other roles that he's been doing as well, where he's
Yeah.
been dead into kind of some of that stuff. But cool,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I look forward to hearing more about the Salesforce Ben
Stay
event. But
tuned. We
yeah,
got our first planning meeting kind of mid-December. So I'm excited to start to put our heads together and come up with some fun stuff. And I think one thing that we may look into is getting kind of a community advisory board, get some folks that are, active in the community, active in content creation, active with Salesforce, and use that as a way to broaden the perspective so that we're not, we're being as inclusive as possible.
that sounds awesome. Cool, very nice.
I
So,
can't promise that, like, we've not committed to that,
no,
like,
no, no. I
with
mean,
that, like, that's I think it's something I'm hoping that we can make happen.
very cool. You heard it here first. Well, so what are we doing today? Because today's a slightly shorter session.
Yep.
Um,
My
as
fault. I gotta go
that's
early.
right.
Working on
We
the
can.
bathroom, gotta talk to the installer.
It's funny because didn't your wife come in a minute ago and say like, "Are you not off to the pub with me in like an hour or so?" Is that not?
Something like that. It was more about, like, car tires, so, yeah, just,
Yeah.
lots of maintenance going on in the Chittim household.
Yes. Well, before we and both of us are at French Touch Streaming on
Fresh streaming next
Tuesday,
week.
by the way. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
make sure you come and say hello. So
Bah
today's
oui.
shorter session. Gone. Oh, we.
Bah
It's
oui.
I'm going to end up talking Spanish. I know it. Like when I'm in Spain, I talk French. So when I'm in France, I talk Spanish. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Por supuesto, Paulo.
Uh, Porque no creo mucho. Bueno pienso mucho. Anyway, today what are we doing? Today we are going to look at another logging framework. And a few episodes ago, we looked at RFlib. So yeah, just to say again to everyone that's joining us, welcome along. Thanks for coming, and just drop us a note in the chat to let us know where you are watching from.
And if you're joining us now, you've actually managed to miss the banter part of it, so on to
Yeah,
the best part.
well done. You've also managed to miss Peter. Pete actually put a message to say, "Hey, let us know where you're joining from," but he's put it in the private chat with me. So
Oh, goodness.
yeah.
There we
So Pete,
go.
hi, I'm Paul. I'm joining from. So yeah,
That's
so
too
we're gonna
funny.
look.
Yeah, I'm a
We're gonna
highly
look
skilled technical professional.
I actually was submitting my CV for a role the other day, like for a like assistant non-profit director role, and I sent the email with my CV attached, and then the person who was in charge of it, I messaged them separately and said, "Just checking you've received it." And they're like, "Yeah, it's come through fine." I was like, I didn't receive anything back from them saying like it had been acknowledged, but I just said like I do not trust that I can attach an email to a document to an email. Like,
Yeah, like, there's some things like
I
that
need you
where
to message me back saying thank you, Paul. We've received this. Like, otherwise, I'm just going to assume it hasn't come through.
yeah, so many times I've missed that attachment or like, "Hey, can you go check out this, whatever thing at this link?" And then like, "Can you send the link too?"
Yep. Oh yes, number of things I've done that with. So So yeah,
Oh,
so
Ellie
today
caught
was
some of the bands, so there we go.
that's
Welcome,
good.
Ellie.
Hey Ellie, good to see you. So yeah, Nebula Logger.
Nebula
Nebula
Logger.
Logger.
Actually, Ellie knows Nebula Logger. I've seen her give a talk on it, so it's awesome that she's here.
Oh, cool. So
It's a
Ellie
very good
can.
talk. If you ever see Ellie Matthewman at a conference talking about Nebula Logger, go to that talk. It's really good.
I mean, we should have just got Ellie to come and do this for us then,
That's a good point.
rather than you and I fumble our way through this again.
Exactly.
In the most human stuff. But at least we've got someone here who knows what they're on about to help debug the very many mistakes with it. So
Yeah.
today we're going to try and do a little bit of a two-parter. The first quick part we're going to try and do is go back to our. Let me just share my screen and we can talk to this. You'll remember, for those that are regular watchers, a while ago we did this. We built a little app that has images being displayed using Apex, using the Fetch API, and using the Pexels library. And what we did with our flib is just put some basic kind of debugging in there, just to kind of allow us to see it and allow us to work with it, and just put some basic logging in there. So we're going to do the same for the first sort of 10 minutes today with Nebula Logger, just to kind of show you how you create some basic debugs, how you save it. Meanwhile, in the background, Pete is setting up another Scratch for us to work in, which has his parallel event stream processing platform event thing, which for those who are going to be in Paris can see him talk about on Tuesday. But yeah, so we're going to dive into that and see if we can add some kind of better tracing, and not better, some tracing along.
Yeah, I basically wrote my own tracer for it, so I could, because I was planning on using the regular Apex log, but I found when I set up parallel events, it wasn't outputting. So I ended up writing my own tracer. I knew I could have used Nebula Logger, but I kind of fancied the challenge. I had worked, I've worked with other observability tools in the past, and I thought this would be kind of interesting to just like see like how can you get this to work.
Yeah, and so we're going to try and implement some tracing in that for Pete, all within the next hour and 5 minutes.
Nice.
So yeah, let's dive on in then. So for those who aren't familiar with Nebula Logger is one of the oldest and best loved logging frameworks out there on Salesforce. I was actually trying to look to see when the first initially 7 years ago. So it's 2025 now. So this was 2015. Is that add up?
I want to say it was one of the highest ranked open source projects when we asked people in our developer survey about the tools they used. Like this was one of the highest ranked ones out there. So I mean, it was in the top 10 for sure. It wasn't like number one because like technically the Salesforce CLI is an open source project. But it was up there, and it definitely factored in.
So yeah, it's been around since 2018, as I can see here from the original commit, and yeah, it's a very cool little logging tool and framework. I say little logging framework, massively understating the vast complexities we have in there.
So I know Jonathan Gillespie's the like he's the creator, right? But then yes. What's the name? Is it James Simone, who's like also a big contributor to?
Yes. So yeah, James Simone is a big contributor to it. Both of them actually now work at Salesforce, whereas I think they didn't when it was first conceived. Yeah. So one of the things I like about it is that it's very easy to set up and install. You can install it as an unlocked package. You can install it as a managed package. You can just push the code in from GitHub yourself, whatever works best for you. And it's all MIT licensed as well. So if you are a partner, you can just use it for your own logging without fear of copyleft and all these other things that you need to worry about. So very cool little bit of kit.
So that's a good question though. Like how would you recommend? I want to say Ellie had a recommendation for whether to use the unlocked or the managed package, but like what's a good choice for which one of those to use?
I personally, so in my Scratch org here, I've gone for the unlocked package so we can have a look in through things. I am So, if I was putting this in a customer's org as a consultant, or in an org that I owned and didn't want to have to do too much management on and wanted to be upgrading, then I would do the managed package version because people don't need to see the guts of it. If I was wanting to use this as a base for me to maybe make some tweaks, maybe make some enhancements myself, then I would use the unlocked package. If I'm an ISV, I would probably copy the code across rather than make it an explicit dependency because I just don't know if I'm going to want to have that dependency forever and ever and ever in there. Similar to what Elliot's put here, which is
it depends.
It depends. Yeah. So there's no, in my mind, there's no right or wrong answer on it. It very much depends on your situation.
What are you optimizing for, basically?
Exactly. Yeah. Who do you expect to use it, and how much do you want them to see of it?
And that brings up a good. I'm gonna ask another question, which is, so if I do a managed package, the package provider pushes an update. Is there a way for me to like opt out of that update, or does it just like drop and like that's it? I get it.
I believe it's just it drops and that's it. I get it. I mean, when I push upgrades to clients, the way in which I personally do it for my apps is I push to sandboxes a few weeks before I push to production, and I give people. But I'm always trying to do. I always try and do that smaller set of updates that it's not going to, not going to have any breaking things. And if you're doing a new feature, it's unlikely to cause that. But there is that risk, obviously. I also like to do it so I've got a couple of weeks of people being able to play around with it.
It makes sense.
Before I do it into production to mess around. But honestly, you can just slam it in there and no one can stop you. So Ellie just said here as well, as an end user or customer, we use the unlock package so they can extend it if they want, which they have as well. Which again, if you have technical resources and a team that can extend it, that's really useful for. Like if I was, so I have two different types of customers as a consultant. I have those where I am like the Salesforce person for them, and I have those where I work with their team internally. For those where I am the Salesforce person, managed package makes most sense because it can be uninstalled, it can be managed later on. It just lives by itself, and there's not I'm not kind of polluting things. Where I'm working with another team, then unlocked packages are good because they can do it. So
that makes sense.
And there's a very nice install link here as well, which I assume Pete is probably pushing in the background now for himself.
I'm actually just about to go to that website and copy that URL and install that unlock package.
Cool. So I've got this done in our org here already. Pete mentioned James Simone. Simone?
I wouldn't say. I mean, it could be Simone. I mean, like that looks kind of Italian. So
we'll go for James.
I don't know.
Pete mentioned James's blog here. James and the Joys of Apex has a very good blog. There's a really good advanced logging on Nebula using Nebula Logger blog here, which has a lot of cool stuff in there, which I will post as a link here for people to go and follow if they want. One of the things that I was reading about earlier that I really liked was having things like the unique transaction ID. So you remember when we had request IDs added and all of that sort of stuff. Salesforce now uses that. So with Liquidity Edition in Winter 21, there's now your transaction ID, which we'll see in a minute anyway. So
I kind of missed that. My mind was somewhere else, but that's fine. We'll revisit it when we get there. That's
no cool. So here is our app.
I know Quiddity was something about that.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's all related to that update. So here we are in our app. We have an Apex call out, a fetch request, and a library using the Pexels library. And here we can see when I refresh, it loads us up some very cool new pictures every single time.
Oh, that middle one's super cool.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I could just sit here refreshing this app.
Honestly, the one on the right looks like that could have been from my childhood. It looks like 70s Southern California.
Yeah, I mean, like you can just you can just spend hours doing this.
Really,
when you just said about like something from your childhood, just randomly the other day, I was looking for a picture from Pexels for testing something, and it was the picture that they had was the butcher's that is just up the road from me in the snow. I just happened to, I looked and I was like, I recognize that place, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was so weird. Yeah. Anyway, aside from that, let's jump into the code and let's do some let's do some logging. So I'm just going to take a copy of this onto my other screen, just so I can find it easier to flick back and forth as we need to as well. So our code. Let me actually share the screen properly as well. Give me 1 second. Apologies. I always forget to share the entire screen. Cool. So the code. Let's close down this 1 minute. Let's hide the API key before we do anything else. Right. So the API key is now.
They're no fun.
I know, yeah. I mean, you could start getting all sorts of pictures of your own accord using an API.
It's not like someone's out there trying to break into Salesforce orgs right now. So,
well, the API key is the Pexels API key. So all you could get with that API key is pictures.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And Pexels give you the key for free anyway, so it's not like it'll do too much.
Yeah. All they would do is basically get you blacklisted.
Yeah, exactly, which I do not want to do because, as I say, I just like looking at the pictures on there. So, so let's talk through what we've got going on here. Let's probably start off with the Apex callout. And so, very, very simple callout we have here in our class, which just has a couple of strings. So it has our name credential, it has our API endpoint. We're using external credentials for this to make things more secure. And I had to set that up just before we jumped on. And yeah, then we do our get method. We get a random page number. So you recall on our display image here, we choose a random page number between 1 and 1,000 to get the pages for, and then we get the first picture from that page. So theoretically, we could end up finding the same picture if we refreshed long enough, and there were no updates at the time. So, and then we get the method and we return it back. So what I think we should do is, let's just start doing some logging. So the way in which Nebula Logger works is, funnily enough, with a logger class. And you'll have never guessed that, would you? From all the way in which you would work. But for us to
people who don't use intuitive names for their work, we'll have to give some feedback and an issue on Nebula Logger.
Exactly. I'll raise that as a pull request, just like want a proper name.
Hashtag could be more intuitive.
Could be more intuitive. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do logger.debug. And what is not logger.system.debug, logger.debug. And what's really nice, one of the things I really do like about Nebula Logger is the logger class has functions for every single debug log level. So you've got logger.debug, logger.error, warn, find, finest, etc. And what we'll do here is we're going to say logger.debug, initiating callout with page number.
Yeah, it's more like the JavaScript like console API versus like the Apex system.debug API. I like that a little bit better. I agree.
Yeah, and then we can also do another one here, logger.debug, and I'm just going to put out response dot get body. So we have that. And we can just see them in a minute. And the thing you need to do with Nebula Logger though is save your logs at the end. So you press save log, and then what it will do is when you run this, it will generate the log records and save them. Sorry, that's probably quite small on screen, so zoom in for that. So if we go back over here now to our images and I rerun this, it runs away hopefully fine. Yeah, runs away fine. We get our picture there. And then what I'm going to do is if I open up log entries, let me open up the Nebula Logger app in a new tab so we can see everything that's got in here.
I was just checking my install and I realized that it had timed out because I had to grant access. So it should be good to go when we get there.
So open all logs here. There you go. So we have our first log, and you can see it's got my username, which that's not my real name. That just happens to be my test user in a Scratch org. It's got the profile that I'm on and the transaction ID. So the Quiddity conversation we had a minute ago, this is the transaction ID for our log. So it's the unique transaction ID to kind of allow you to group things between different contexts in that transaction. So if you're in a flow, if you're in a series of Apex classes or whatever it might be, it maintains that. And here we have our log entries. So you can see here we have our first log entry, which is initiating call out with page number 252. We have our second log entry where it has all of our information that we have in the body. So we'll just open it up just to see all that data there. And then, and you can see here, it has the original source metadata as to where that's come from, which is quite cool. So you can see whereabouts in the system that's come from. And then finally, we have just it running that it's saving those two log entries. So it's really nice and simple. You can see they're ordered by which entry number they are, so you can see them in order. And from just like from a really simple kind of debugging perspective, this just makes it really quick and easy for you to go in and know what's going on. You've got all of the details of what's happened, including your total CPU time, what system mode you ran in, your locale, just all sort of source IP, everything in there. Lots and lots.
It's a lot of data. That's like really helpful.
Yeah, all your org limits and whether you're in them. Thankfully, I am not exceeding any org limits, and your history and any related logs as well, if you had any related ones. So
I was wondering if like the extensions that Ellie mentioned in her comment, obviously we're saving this in a Salesforce object. Like, I wonder if one of those extensions might be like collecting some metrics or something like that. Anyway, it was just like, what are some things that could be extended? And I suppose additional fields or something like that could help with kind of directing you where, what the problem is, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you were wanting to take something like this and have, because obviously where we have the data here in Salesforce, we could then easily have this S object data copied into a data model object in Data Cloud. So you could have a kind of data analytics tool built out in Data Cloud using this Nebula Logger data, and you could add your own custom fields and custom extensions on it for information you found useful and interesting in there as well. So lots and lots of cool stuff that you could do in there. I mean, from an ISV's perspective, if you added in like feature flag logging and things like that, there's some really cool bits you could do on there. Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure. I want to say again, going back to having seen Ellie's talk, I have a vague recollection that that they were using Datadog as a observability platform. So like you could stick it into Splunk, you could do New Relic, maybe, so like you could put it into a sort of open telemetry based system for getting information out of that too.
Yeah, and I think that's really key when you get to a certain scale as well. Like, I mean, Salesforce have options for things like event monitoring and but they cost a bit. I mean, from recollection, I think event monitoring was something like 5% of your annual license fee as an upgrade.
I want to say it was more like 10 at one point.
Yeah, I mean, I was going lowball, but like,
yeah, I have a vague recollection of hearing, and this was before they added the newer, what's it called? There's a newer feature that they've added. Now there's like sort of 4 components to, data detect is the 4th one now.
Yeah.
For a long time, it was 10% for each of the components: platform encryption, field audit trail, and event monitoring. And then like you would get 3 for 20,000, I think, if you bought the whole. So you got a discount if you bought the whole thing or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking here. So it's 10% of net spend for event monitoring, 10% of net spend for field audit trail, 20% of net spend for platform encryption, or 30% of net spend for all of those, and data detect. And data detect is only available when you buy it as part of the bundle.
Got it. Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
What's really interesting is Salesforce have a currency converter at the top of that, so you can do that percentage in any currency you want.
Well, that's good. I mean, percent in Britain is like, don't you do
Yeah,
pints here? Like that's
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, here we go.
No
Most
10 base
orgs,
numbers here. Yeah.
yeah. Ellie just noted most orgs now get 4 events for free in event monitoring, which
Yeah, it's
includes
true.
8 unexpected exceptions without paying extra, but they only last a day. So good. That's a really hot tip
Mm.
for anyone who's unaware of that and looking to get interested in shit. But general point here though is that 10% of net spend is a big bump, and so
Mm.
if you'd want to do something a bit more robust if you were doing a full kind of framework like event
Yeah.
monitoring, but this works well. My big
And
issue,
I think something like, having a listener for Apex exception, like that totally makes sense. It should be fairly easy to do. But then you're relying on Salesforce and what they give you, or how well have you actually caught that particular exception. Whereas if you're proactively instrumenting your code with the logger,
yeah,
then you actually have some control as to what you get out of that, as opposed to relying on what hopefully the exception tells you.
no, definitely. Can we just take a brief moment to have a? This is Paul's moan of the day.
Okay, yeah, okay. We need like a segment like theme for this, I think.
Yeah, like
It's a new
we should
segment.
actually, I might actually get working on that. Where it just has like a bitch of the day. Like, so I put a little. I wonder if, in fact, I've got responses to it. I put a little poll up the other day about what is what people are using, whether they're using SLDS2 or not. So I'm working on some documentation for a new product I've got coming out, and like as you'll notice with this Scratch org, it is in SLDS2 by default, and so I'm just was intrigued to see what people are using. Apparently, according to the results, and this is breaking news. Let me show everyone this
I
breaking,
can't wait.
breaking news. There have been 40 votes, and the votes are in. Whoa! Thank you for destroying yourself there. And 65% of people are not using Lightning Design System 2 / Cosmos in their org.
Hmm.
And like I'll be honest, most of the orgs I go into, it's not being used. But can I tell you why it's probably not being used? Is look at that stupid little white bar that shouldn't be there. Like this, there's like a that should not be there. Like what's it like if you go onto this record, the header is in there and there's no
Yep. Yeah.
what's that? That's like
It looks like a
it's a card
it's a
bottom.
card, but it's somehow like it yeah. Why is it
Yeah,
there?
it just but things like this really though, like
Next one up? No? Okay.
like
Well,
that
I
one.
wonder if that whole thing is just a card, and for whatever reason, something about the CSS is just not, like, doing what it
Nope.
should at the bottom there.
No, I mean I've just hidden an element and nothing's changed, so that's it. There's
Yeah.
always a good. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just is it? Oh, 1 minute. It's probably the yeah. It's the drop shadow
Oh, but it
on.
says flexi page component.
I'll do this
So,
1 minute. If I do margin,
is it because it's running on an
1
app
minute.
builder page, and there's something about, like, flexi page that's
No, but this is running on an app builder page here.
okay,
Either
fair
right,
point. Yeah,
either
alright.
way, whatever it's running as, no,
It's not
like
doing it right.
no, like it just. Remember the other week, people were saying about like it's like stubbing your toe 1,000 times a day, like
Mhm.
it's death by 1,000 cuts. This is just
Yeah, that is
anyway.
true.
Moving on. But yeah, there's some cool stuff
I
in there.
seem
I like
like it's really dark. See if I can bring myself. Oh, you know what it is? It's like the light from my window is so bright.
yeah.
Here, let's see if we
Um,
can do that.
Yeah, I like here that you can get the
It's a little
record
better.
JSON for what's been there. You've got the log file as well, so it tells you what's going on and where the logs have come from. There's just a lot of information in here. It's really quite cool. So yeah, big fan of this. What time are we on? Should we just try and do a quick log in a Lightning Web Component as well?
I'm dying to see a log in a Lightning Web Component. I think that's a
Dying. Well, I mean, I
fantastic idea.
wouldn't go that far. Like, yeah. But okay, let's do. Should we? What do we want to do? Should we do it? Let's do it in this one. So we're going to import logger, and I'm just remembering the exact import get logger. That's what I'm doing wrong. Okay, and then what we want to do is down here. Let's just create. And all I'm just getting a lot of this stuff from the wonderful documentation. Documentation is really quite good, easy to work through. Pete and I have a habit of not really using documentation properly, at least in this instance. So yeah, good that we are doing so, shall we say. So let's do this now. So I'm going to do this dot logger dot debug. Let's do an info. Let's just mix it up. And what I'm going to do is, because I'm in JavaScript, I'm going to do start was set
string
to,
templates. Love that.
yeah. And I need to remember the correct format now. This dot start. That is correct. Look at me knowing basic JavaScript. And so I'm going to save that log. Well, actually, I want to try something. I'm sure it should do this properly, but here's a good way of testing it. And then what I'm going to do in here is, instead of that console.log, I'm going to do logger.debug, and I'm going to do data.json.parse-data. There we go. And that should work for us. And if I do here, save log. I could type 10,000 words without a single spelling mistake when I'm just typing away by myself. And as soon as the screen share comes on, it's like I've never touched a keyboard in my life.
That's how it is.
Cool. All right. So if we go back here, let's give this one a refresh. See what pictures we get. Oh, some nice flowers. Broom. Yeah, broom. That's a
broom.
The Fellowship of the Ring going up. Cool. So let's refresh this list. And we have our next log. And again, it's nice that it's all grouping by the transaction ID. And here we go. We can see our initial call out there. Oh, 1 minute. Interesting. I don't know if we have our logs for our. We don't have our logs for our Lightning component. We've got our logs here for, because these are the logs, aren't they, for our Apex class?
Right.
Why are our Lightning component logs not logging?
That's interesting use of console app. I just realized.
Yeah. Logger.get logger, logger.info, logger.save log should work.
And you're sure it didn't show up later? Like somehow?
No, there's just those 3 entries, and then go to the logs. This is all logs.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not missing anything here, am I? Log entries. I go all. There should be 6 here, I think. Yep, those are the 6 there. Now, I suppose this is probably going to be a configuration problem, as is ever the case when we're doing here. So let's just do settings. And Apex JavaScript Lightning Logger is probably not enabled. So I wonder if there is let's go and do here custom metadata. I wonder if there is some default in here. Logger. No, there's no scenarios. All right, let's just create a scenario and let's just see if that works. Just checking there's nothing else. Oh, there is a streaming though. Let's just try this. So that should be streaming now, I think. Is this one streaming or is it paused? Oh no, it's 6 events streamed. Does not have those from. Yeah, so it's got the Apex events here again. Okay. Let me create this scenario. I just enable Lightning Logger as well. Okay, let's just do that. Organization level. Let's just do that. Cool. So then I go to the event stream, clear that, and rerun here. Here we go. So there's some debugs there. It's 12 total streamed events. Cool. So if I go back to logs here, yeah, there you go. So we've got think here. Oh no. What are we missing? Why is this not coming through? What am I doing daft here, Pete? Let's try that. Let's see if it. Interesting that the component ones are not coming through. Okay, there's something we've missed here anyway, which we need to figure out. But in the kind of in terms of preserving some time, so we can jump over and have a look at what Pete's got going on. Just check to see if there's anything in there. Nope.
Well, so do you mind just showing your code one more time? So
my code.
Yeah, where you.
Debug.
I guess I mean, looking at the quick start, it's slightly different, but I'm sort of
what's different in the quick start?
Well, there's sort of like this.template query selector and sort of getting the logger out of. I mean, it's a weird way of doing it.
That query selector. Yeah. No, in Logger for Lightning Components Quick Start just has the code I've got there. As far as I can see, anyway.
What am I looking at then? Lightning components. Ooh.
Okay, 1 minute. I go here, log entries. 1 minute. There might be a special. No. Yeah, logger.
I don't see the syntax that you're doing where it's doing an import of the package. So I guess that's what I'm seeing that's different.
I think I need to create a scenario.
Ooh.
So let's just call this demo. Demo and demo. Let's just do that a minute. So if I do. Don't know whether this is specifically required, but we'll give it a go. Okay, that's wrong. Let's just close all of these. They're useless. Hold a second. And if we just refresh again. Yeah, I can't see login trees. Yeah, I can't see it. Okay, let's move on, and I can always play around with this in the background and see if I can figure it out, because this is a bit confusing as to why it's not coming through.
Yeah,
As it is importing and everything seems to have worked, but be something little that I'm missing, of course, as ever. But cool, right. So let's hop over and have a look. Yeah, thanks, Ellie. I'm glad that I'm not going mad. There is something in there. It is saving. Yeah, deploy to all orgs successfully. Don't know.
Let's see.
So yeah, so that's basically that's using Nebula Logger quickly to do some Apex logging, if nothing else. So what we'll have a look at now is doing the same in Pete's code to see if we can kind of take some of his existing tracing and tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, basically replace it. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can find. Yeah, I think. Okay, so let's. I think all of so I've got a Google collab that helps explain what I was doing a little bit and some slides, but I think those are all in a different Google account that I have on this laptop. So, but that's fine. I'll make do. There we go. That should get us there.
You are going to need to zoom in, I think.
I think you're right. Let's fix that and say goodbye to that. I have not done anything with Mr. Vibes over there in this installation. Oh God. Apparently I'm like way out of date with some things. So I'm just going to go ahead and restart extensions just to maybe fix that. Let's vibe. Shall we vibe, Paul? Yeah.
Say again?
So should we vibe? You ready to vibe?
Yeah, I mean, that's all we ever do is just vibe away. Yeah, yeah, vibe coding. Let's not open up that can of worms.
Yeah. So the story of this, was I wanted to test out a new feature in platform events. So if I go, there's that, and then I should have. Okay. So essentially, and this new feature is, if you have a lot of platform events and your subscriber is the apex trigger for your platform event, you can have many of them all subscribed sort of at the same time. Well, it's just basically one trigger, but there's sort of multiple instances of that trigger that get stood up. And it uses sort of some underlying functionality in the Kafka layer, I think called a partition, that essentially allows you to make sure that, as those events come in, even though you have what essentially are multiple subscribers, a single event is only ever processed by a single subscriber, so you don't get duplicate processing. And that just means you can process more of them faster. So It was fun to do this. Let me see if I can kind of walk through. So inbound order publisher. Oh, and then because I was running into problems with just using the log, my plan had been to just use the Apex log, and because I was doing like 50,000 platform events when I would run my tests, because I was trying to test for performance and scale. Um, I thought I would just use the Apex log and look for some signal in the Apex log that was the start of the batch of 50,000. And technically, I think they were in batches of 10,000. Um, and then start to do some maths basically, and pull some data out of that. But the minute I used parallel platform events, the log stopped working. Just so there you go. So that was when I basically wrote my own tracer, and so tracer dot cls here is that, and essentially, where are we? There we go. I just call the trace method, and then, I mean, it's pretty primitive what I was doing, but essentially, I would put a call to trace at the beginning of a transaction, and then at the end, and so I ended up with two records. The first one would be the start, second one would be the end, and through that, I was able to, and because I had sort of um, a trace ID across all the batches,
Mhm.
and then a batch ID for each of the batch, I could actually come back with some pretty good data around how fast, like the full 10,000 took, versus every batch of 2,000, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, so that was basically what I did. So in here, inbound order publisher should be where I did this. So essentially, I was triggering this with anonymous Apex.
Mhm.
Again, it's fairly primitive, and I would invoke my publish events. There was also a single there was another version of this. So again, I am not following the "don't repeat yourself" thing here. I did a little bit of dry, but this was essentially to, if I wanted to call the event, sorry, the platform event where it was not multiplayer, or not, oh, I forgot the term, uh, multiple partitions. So I had like a single subscriber version and trigger, and I had a multiple subscriber version and trigger.
Yeah.
And so I just had a different method for those. But these essentially do the same thing where, how many events are you going to fire? Like, what's the message you want in there? What's the trace ID? And, that one I would just create a UUID,
Okay.
and pop it in there each time. And then I'd, pretty basic, like run through a whole bunch of uh, this platform event, and publish them. Boom. So pretty straightforward.
And is it
And then
just
I've
a
got another one that is just like execute a single one. Uh, single. Oh, where is it? Yeah, there we go. So publish event, and then publish event one sub. So I could just like could do a single event as a test, and that's actually what I thought I would run just to sort of
yeah,
demo
yeah.
this initially, rather than having to, because I don't even know where my parallel subscribers are set to right now, and if it's too low, we'd have to wait like a minute for it to finish. It was really amazing though, like the difference, like when I would do 10 parallel subscribers versus one, uh, it was like order of magnitude faster.
Did you
So
did you find that that scale was, and I know this is not the topic of today's conversation,
that's okay.
but did you find that scale was linear as you expected? So, if you did, if two subscribers half the time, four subscribers,
Yeah, it was fairly linear. So,
okay, cool.
but there was kind of a a point where you'd get diminishing returns, like
Yeah,
percentage wise. You weren't just getting, when you moved from like when you got to about 6, it was pretty good. And like going from 6 to 8, for instance, it wasn't that much better. Like, do you really need the additional 2 subscribers?
yeah,
My tests were for 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So it took time because I was doing this in a Scratch org, and I was
yeah,
actually like doing a home project. So I'd like run up, set up my tests, you know, do it, and then I'd like go and do something for my home project while I was doing this on a weekend.
nice.
Um, so like I didn't want to do like, what's the difference between 7, 8, and 6? I just thought, we'll do the evens and go up to
Yeah,
10 and see how it goes.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
my HubSpot app at the moment, and like the core architecture behind that is using AMQP. So like processing of message queues and like things like that is something I'm always big nerding on at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, totally. So in here, if I go to scripts, oops, I got that backwards. You're right, like doing this on, okay, so this, so test single order events dot
Yep.
apex was basically the one that I would do. So if I sf apex run file test single order events dot apex, that should be the one. So we'll run that. There we go. And not much is happening here. It's just publishing a platform event. So, oh, actually, there is some DML, but that's from the tracer. So there we go. And then if I pop over to the org, oh yeah. Uh, so the object that it's actually creating as a result of the platform event is this one. And so here you can see, I should probably put a date on here. That would help make it a bit more distinct, wouldn't it? So let me add in created date. Refresh. Where did it go? Did I not do that properly? Am I going too fast? Oh yeah, I didn't actually move it over. That helps. And let's move it up to. Okay, so yeah, so that's the one I ran just before we started streaming, and then here's the test that I just did. So cool. So we have the trace though, and to do this, I wonder if I can just find the trace object. I don't see it. Okay, so let's do. Oh, actually, I've got that over here. All right, I need to type out this query, which is going to be tedious, and my apologies because that's not great TV.
Right. Whilst Ellie, I've just tried what you suggested in the background. I think as well, making it doing the get logger assignment in, or doing this dot logger equals get logger in the connected callback and marking it as async, and unfortunately still no done. So yeah, no idea why it's not working for me. But hey, one of those things. I'll have a play around with it in the background afterwards to see if I can get anything working. But yeah, it's a bit odd that it's not coming through with the correct items in there. But thankfully, this isn't real code that needs to matter for now. Yeah, I'll have a look through because to be honest, I really like Nebula Logger, and I'm definitely considering seeing if it's a possibility for incorporating into products and things.
Actually, I think I have a faster way of doing this, because, part of the reason I had this, like, massive aggregate query was because I was doing, like, 10,000 of these, but since I really just only have the one, is if I do select, fields all from, uh, request. I did really stupid naming, and I'm sorry about that. Again, not great TV.
Sorry.
Limit 200. Then I should see some examples of. There we go. So those are my traces, and
Can you zoom in a tiny bit? Sorry.
thank you. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, so here's all the traces that have come out.
Yeah, although yeah, I guess there should be some UUID fields in here as well. So if I do ID comma, that's really interesting. I'm a little bit baffled, but in
Yeah.
any case, like you could see how I was doing this where I'd have sort of a trace start and a trace stop, right?
Mhm.
And so, for each and again, like where are those fields? That's a bit baffling. But in any case, I was able to kind of pick up the telemetry and I could kind of pull out how long did a particular batch take, how long did a particular, total transaction or total um across like all 50,000 records. And that's what allowed me to produce that. So the goal then is to kind of use Nebula Logger and replace that in here. So yeah, should we go do that?
Yes, let's do that.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I should have imported correctly the package. So that means I just need to do like logger dot debug, right? And I should be good to go.
Yep. Yep. Just do logger.debug, and then just remember to save the log at the end of it.
Okay, so let's go and find uh, that's inbound order publisher. And in here, okay, so I believe then, I must have put it in the trigger. Yeah. Okay, so inbound order, I'll do the just the regular subscriber trigger here. Yeah. Uh, inbound order handler. Maybe it's in the handler. This is the fun part about looking at code you haven't looked at in a
Mhm.
month and a half. So that's inbound order event sub handler. There. And now we're there. So there's my tracer. So tracer.trace. And so I'm going to comment that out and do logger dot debug or debut. Okay. Go away.
Hmm.
Auto prove read. How do I turn off the actual? Oh, maybe that's good. Nope, it keeps going. Go. And I think what we will do is let's see if we can just grab the same trace ID out of here and see if we can trace for ID. Oh my god. I really need to turn that off.
Yeah, I've started very actively like not use or turning things off like that in cursor because they just do my nutting.
Yeah. All right. Now it's giving, what's going on there? Oh, well, that's why, because I'm in Apex. That's better. And we need to add one of those. And I think we're better now. Boom. All right. I once used to be able to write Apex so much faster. Okay, so let's do another one of those, and let's see if we can. And actually, I'm going to say start trace ID. That way, I can mark that as the start. And let's take you and get rid of you and there, and we'll say stop trace ID. That should do it. Pretty sure.
In theory. Yeah, should do.
So SF project deploy preview. Let's make sure I'm not doing anything.
Oh, you need you haven't got the save log, Pete.
Say it again.
Have you got the save log in there though?
Oh, thank you. I need you to do it at each point as well, right?
Yeah. Not at each point. You can do it once at the end.
That'll work okay? Okay.
Seems to, yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see if it knows to... No, it doesn't. Logs? Is that right?
Yeah. Logger.save logs. Yep.
And it's plural. Okay, sweet. Thank you.
That's all right.
Now, it doesn't say anything's going to be deployed, though. Why is that? It's saved. Let's go here. Oh, it doesn't like that. It doesn't like Logger either. Do I need to bring it down to the package locally? Is that?
No, mine didn't need to do that.
Method does not exist. Save logs from the type
logger.
logger.
It's save log, not save logs. I'm wrong.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ellie.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, don't trust Agent Force vibes, people.
Or me.
Well, there you go. Well, so apparently Agent Force Vibes is as good a coder as Paul Battison. There.
Being as good a coder as me is not a high bar and not something you should then use to build production code on.
All right, deploy source to org. Oh, it seems happier. It's running longer. All right, something changed. Should we go see?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, baby. Okay, so, actually, no, I need to actually run my test again. No, we can close you and we'll go back to terminal and SF Apex. I'm still in scripts, so that should be good. Okay. And now let's go find Nebula Logger. Ooh, there it is. I've got Nebula Logger. So excited. I wasn't really watching before. So where am I going?
So you go in the drop down at the top. Yep, up the console menu.
Where? Here? Oh, there. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Logs. Is that it?
Yep.
All logs? Ooh, I have some logs. Sweet. Okay, so let's take a look at, actually, I clicked on the user. That's probably the wrong thing to click on. Let's try that again. Let's look at log all zeros.
Yeah.
Oh, look. Oh, start, stop, trace. That's nice. Excellent. Sweet. I got a log.
There you go. It's pretty nice and easy to add that in, wasn't it?
It is actually. And once you figure out the right way to do it, which is
Yeah.
always the thing, isn't it?
But no, it's quite nice and easy. So Ellie's been said another message about like, have I been trying a couple of things? I have been looking in the background. I am getting an Apex error on the page when I am trying to save a JavaScript log. It is an error that is saying that there is it's a server error. So, something's going wrong in the Apex class. Value provided is invalid for action parameter component log entries of type lists. So something in that is not working. So yeah, I'll go away and have a look in the background and find out why log entries to save is turning up as empty when I'm calling logger. I have turned on lightning logger as well, which I think is a requirement that's not listed in the documentation. So I might need
Okay. Okay.
So I have turned that on because we're importing logger service imports loggers lightning log from lightning logger, and lightning logger you have to turn that on for like custom components to be able to log in your event monitoring settings. So yeah, that is a requirement there. So I may have just missed it though, so I'll double check that I've not just missed that or anything daft. But yes, receiving an Apex error. So I will go away and figure out why we are not apparently passing in the data correctly, which is interesting.
This is pretty cool. I think that the thing I really like about this, trying to think it through, is so first of all, like the main thing I was trying to get was timing, right? How long
Yeah.
was this taking? So, I only included the trace ID. I would also want to include the batch, right? Because I was trying to like do some data around both of those. There was other data I was throwing into my log calls. Well, I mean, trace stop point, like that's basically what I have here. The event name, order event size, and timestamp. No, I don't need to do timestamp because it does that for me, obviously. But like these other bits, it'd be quite easy to incorporate those into the message. And I think that's also where it might be fun to explore extending it, so like, there is no like event name, for example, field in Nebula Logger, natively. Would I want to add that maybe to the logger object and, be able to store some specific information to my implementation? Or
Yeah.
do I like dump that into the log message and then parse that later? Like those would be choices to make. Anyway, but I think it's really great food for thought. I had considered this at the time. I also knew I had like specific data that I wanted to pull out, so that was part of the reason I just dumped it into a custom object. But yeah, this is fun to test out and to I could kind of see the potential of where I could take this, or I might have used this as an alternative for when I was doing my my tests.
No, it's cool. I mean, I was just looking in the background as well, trying to debug why my logging is not working. But one of the interesting things as well is that you can choose what method you want for saving. So whether you wanted to save via platform events or save via, I'm just looking here. So you can choose the save method to be event bus, so publish platform events, queuable, REST, or synchronous DML, which I think is the default one. But I think that's quite cool as well. There's also you can track related logs in batchable and queuable jobs, Pete. So if you are looking
Oh.
to do that, there is an option to do that.
Mhm.
And there's some overload methods. There is a Fluent API as well. So
Oh, nice. Okay.
you
Yeah.
could do that. There's string formatting in it. There's a bunch of there's a bunch of features that we haven't even gone anywhere near here, but would be pretty cool as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So I mean, we're as I say, this is a slightly shorter episode, shorter stream this week because we have a couple of things to run away and do. But where are we in 2 weeks' time? Because 2 weeks' time is getting into that Christmas period, isn't it?
It's getting very Christmassy at that point.
It is, yeah. So we might.
Are you gonna? Do you do Whamageddon? Are you familiar with that cultural phenomenon?
I am familiar with Whamageddon as a cultural phenomenon. Yeah, I mean, maybe we come up with something. See if we can think of something festive to do. I wrote a little script the other day in Apex to manage Secret Santa.
Ooh, nice.
We do Secret Santa in my family because I now have a young nephew and a baby niece who are on my family side. But everyone else is an adult, so like doing Christmas presents was basically here's everyone rotating gift cards, like it's pointless.
That's right.
So we do a Secret Santa now, but I was the designated person to have to assign people, set it out, and do the draw, which meant I knew everything. And I'm always careful using services like, and I'm going to say like Elfster's a good example. Like, I have not checked Elfster's terms of service. I'm sure they're not doing anything wrong. I want to be very clear. I am not suggesting they are doing anything wrong here, but
right.
I always have this thing of like, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Right. Yeah.
And like, they have to make money some way. And I also didn't want to have to support like people having to figure out emails and have they got it? Where's it going? Do they have, because I know I'd have got a million questions.
Well, like a lot of the stuff that you get as gifts there are like, they're sort of affiliate links, right? So if you do it through Elfster, they're going to get a cut, which
which is
a business model.
Yeah, no, I have no issues with that. It was just like, it's more a case of like, for an elderly relative, do I want to have to explain to them when it's popping up saying,
Grandma Millie just doesn't really jive with Elfster.
Yeah. So I built a little script in Apex that uses campaign members and kind of assigns them out to doing it. I tried doing it in Flow, but Flow is just too limited to do something like that, unfortunately. But yeah, and sent some text messages out using my messaging app. It was brilliant. But we should have a think, Pete. Let's see if we can come up with something Christmas themed for our final stream before Christmas.
And I think that's gonna be like right after the London Christmas Mega Meet. So any of you folks that are around the London area, we're doing the Christmas quiz, the supposedly impossible Christmas quiz. Last year I got negative or constructive feedback. It was too easy, people were saying. So
yeah, but wasn't last year the one where you just said Agent Force was the answer to every question for a round?
I think that might have been that was last year. Yeah. We didn't end up doing it for every single question. Like, that was literally what I was thinking about, is making every single question be the answer to Agent Force. Because one of the rules that we say is, the quizmaster is always right, even if they're wrong, kind of thing. My answer is the right answer, even if it's the wrong answer. So it's like, well, no, it's just Agent Force. But what we did instead was we did a whole section where there were legitimate questions, and we said the answer is this or Agent Force. Like, we just Agent Force was the right answer, in addition to whatever the right answer was. So it just kind of became a running joke for that section. But yeah,
I mean, what I think is going to be good for you this year is Salesforce have had a year where they've released a lot of new features and new products that are completely unrelated to Agent Force. I mean, I'm sure you can list off all of them right now. So thankfully it'll be dead easy for you. Like, I
haven't done my questions yet. I even forget what our sections are at this point. It was like 2 weeks ago that Mark Ross and I planned out, but I know we've got some fun ones in there. Normally we have an admin section, a developer section, and then a couple of other sections. So we're gonna, I'm excited. It's always fun. We try and have a little taking the mick out of Salesforce in a little bit too, because it's good festive holiday
They're
cheer.
they're $100 billion company. They can't take a little bit on the chin. Then yeah, it's
That is exactly right, and it is in the best British tradition
oh
to
yeah.
take the piss out of people. Like that's if we weren't doing that, it wouldn't be a London event for Christmas. Like it wouldn't be a London pub quiz. What can I say?
There's a meme
It's
I
all
saw the
done
other
in
day.
good fun. Let's face it. Like
There's a meme I saw the other day which said if anyone ever wants to understand British people, what you need to do is understand that the best thing on election night, every general election, is that the most powerful person up till that point in the country has to stand in a freezing cold leisure centre hall with a man dressed as a space galactic bin behind them, and it's just like yeah, that's it.
oh my god,
You,
yeah. What's the
you
name
can
of that
be
guy? The
Count
bin
Binface. Count Binface.
Face. God, that is so epically great. It's like it is one of the best things about British politics, frankly, is somewhere in like there will be many places in the country where people are both like if you listen to Count Bidface, he takes it very seriously, and yet at the
Oh yeah.
same time, it is totally not. Like,
Cool. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this week.
thanks everybody.
And we'll catch up with you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you once again, Pete, as well, for joining me. And
Thanks, Paul.
see you on the next one.